attitude towards quality as a leader and as an owner. Working within the energy efficiency division, there's sometimes an attitude that it can be very difficult to have good quality. I don't believe that. I feel like it's really simple. So if you're a leader with a few guys on your team, crew leader, assistant owner, whatever stage it may be, it's actually just a few simple processes that need to be put in place to actually get really good quality. On a consistent basis, my reject rate for the entire office will be 30% or below, 25% is sort of an average reject rate, and without a bond of 40%, it means we're getting huge bond returns. People in my office, the leaders, they were picking up £300, £400, £500 bond returns. That sort of money is possible if you have the right sort of attitude towards why you're doing it, and then you're also doing the right things to make sure that is in place as well. So for me, the first thing to understand about quality is why are you doing it? As I mentioned, the money is there. You know, as a leader, you're putting some of your money away into a bond. My attitude towards it is really simple. If I'm in a customer's house and I'm signing them up, then I need to have the impression that I'm taking money out of my wallet and I'm giving it to the customer. The earnings at the moment, are huge. Talking £65 for a sale, so £20, £25 of that is going into a bond. You need to imagine taking a £20 note out of your wallet, leaving it with the customer and saying, right, I've done my job properly, I'm going to be back in 4 months to come and pick that £20 up. You sign up 30, 40 customers over the course of a month, that 20 quid is going to be multiplied 30, 40 times in different houses around your area. And now you can imagine having that much of your money sat around the place. It's so much easier to do things properly. I think that the general idea is that it's not your money, so it doesn't matter, but it is. I have a real attitude of worth, so that I don't want to go out and work for free. I'm not going to sign a job up knowing that that's then going to cancel, because I'm basically just wasting half an hour of my time, because ultimately that's what happens. You do a sale, but then it cancels, you get paid nothing. So there's no point in doing that whatsoever. In terms of the business side of things, APCO will not work with someone who has a reject rate above 30% for obvious reasons. For me, we are a sales company obviously, but I treat it very much like a business, and I always have done. The culture is there, that we need to do things properly. I'm not just working with Mark Group for the next couple of months. It's going to be maybe a long-term project. So we work with them feasibly for the next 4 or 5 years. So if we keep giving them jobs that are no good for them, they're going to end up walking away and they're not going to work with us anymore. And obviously then we have to find a new client to work with. So it's really simple premise for me, that if we're doing a sale in the first place, we need to make sure it's a good quality sale, so that we can keep the money. We don't have to end up paying that money back to the Mark Group as well. If you're not working in that sort of sense, then as I say, you're not running a business. It's like living in a fairyland, imagining that if you just do all these sales, it's going to work out. People end up getting a lot of rejects at the back end, front end of the business loads of money, but then if it's coming out the back end, it's not actually a business. You're actually not making any profits. So that's why. The how is really simple. It's about creating a quality culture. It's about talking about it all the time. So I don't just talk about sales in the office, I also promote quality. So if people get no rejects for the week, I'll give them a high five and a bell just as much as I would do for the sales. So people will run around and get their high five based on the fact that they've got no rejects just as much as getting sales. So it's promoting it right from the word go. It's something that we'll talk about constantly. I have the reject rate up on the board so that people can see what rejects are coming through. We're very open about it as well. Mine are up on the board as well. I don't hide away from it as an owner. If I get rejects coming through, then I get rejects coming through. I need you guys to see that that's on there as well. And then that also pushes me to make sure I do have really good quality as well. So it's really transparent. It's up on the board and people can see it straight away as well. Okay?
I like to make sure that I'm explaining different scenarios to people all the time as well. When people get started right away in my company, I make sure I explain the bond, the reject rates, the clawback period, really thoroughly. It's something that I will take time over doing. So when I'm running through all the agreements with the new guys, it's all written in there, but I think people often skim through it and just assume people will pick it up as they go. But I would explain the scenario and the way that I'm talking about it now in terms of going out there and physically giving them money out, imagining that. That's something that I will talk to the new guys as soon as they come into the business as well. The other thing you can do, particularly at the moment, we're quite lucky in this sort of this world we're living in at the moment. You can use technology to our advantage. So I get calls and I get WhatsApp pictures all day long from guys saying, should I be doing this property? Is this going to cause a problem? And then I can discuss with them why and why it can be done, why it can't be done, just so that they understand what's right and what's wrong. As I said, the people in my office will come up to me on a weekly basis and ask about their rejects. They want to know their reject reasons. It's not like a surprise. I think sometimes the bond return can be like, oh, surprise, this is what it is, but it shouldn't be like that. And for me, it's about using proper reporting. So I make sure I get a report through on a consistent basis that's showing me the future predictions of what's happening. So I know exactly how many sales have been done in a month, because that will be closed by now, and then I can see the rejects coming through one by one and how that is affecting their percentage, whether that means they've got enough in the bond, whether they're falling a bit short, and then there is no surprise, it's not a game. We need to run it as if it is a business and look at where perhaps someone might need to put a bit more money into their bond just to make sure that things are being done properly. The guys in my office feel the pain of getting the rejects and they really hate it. They'll be competitive. They love getting no rejects. They love the fact that if they've had no rejects for a couple of weeks and they get excited about it, and it's something then that is ingrained culturally. So when new people come in, it's so easy. For me now, it's not a task. I don't have to fight against my reject rate because it's already in place. It's already good. The people coming through already have a great culture. So for me, it's really simple in terms of the two reasons why people get rejects. Number one is because the customer cancels. Number two is because the fitter can't do the job. It's really easy. Too many times people complain about what the market are doing the job or market messing this job around. If you actually look at the statistics, you can see that the market are doing jobs that practitioners are doing for us. Equally so, maybe they may miss out on one or two, but it's a small percentage of the amount of sales compared to the number that are being dropped because the guys just aren't doing things properly. So explain to the customer, make sure they understand, do a really thorough rehash, make sure you're selling yourself as a person, make sure you tell the customer 3 things about you, learn 3 things about them, build that relationship so that they have no reason to cancel. Make sure you explain what's going to happen, and then at the end explain what's going to happen again in a more concise way so the customer actually really gets what they need to be doing over the next process. Make it seem important. It might be free installation, so it becomes a bit flippant, but we don't need to do it, but make it important to the customer. Make them realise they can't just go around changing the date whenever they want. The funding is going to change. How often does the funding change? We're not lying, it changes all the time. So make sure that they're aware of that as well. In terms of the fitter, we don't actually speak to the fitter, so use your paperwork, use the notes section, write down everything you need to write. If there's a reason why you were a little bit worried about putting a job through, then write it down, because then at least the fitter knows that you were thinking about it and that you were thinking about them when it came to actually doing the job. If you just put through the jobs willy-nilly, they will soon learn that this person doesn't take any care. You do put your name on the form, they will associate your name with bad jobs, and then they will actually fight to pick the jobs that are from people that they can trust. So it's important to be one of the people they can trust. Make sure you put yourself in their shoes. If you wouldn't climb up onto that roof, if you wouldn't go up there to start drilling on someone's wall, then why would you expect someone else to do it as well, okay? And the 3 final things just to leave you on is just to remember that in terms of the customer, there's only 3 reasons why the customer will cancel. One is because you didn't explain everything to them properly, which is obviously your fault. Two is they didn't understand everything, which is your fault because you didn't explain properly to them as well. And the third thing is that the customer's lying, so they will actually go and say that you didn't explain everything to them, and they make up some excuse for why you did that. So generally people would say that would be the customer's fault, but for me personally I believe that's actually still the FR's fault, because why are you spending your time with someone who lies? Surely you were with the wrong person, surely you should have gone and found someone who actually really wants this. If you were with someone who's going to lie about you, surely that wasn't the right customer for you, and don't be signing up as well. So it all comes down to you. Just remember that it's very easy to blame other things, but if you actually just focus on what you're doing, follow the points that we've gone through, and take what you're doing seriously, it's actually really easy to have a